So I think e-bike racing is one of those things that really polarizes people. Like, what is the point in e-bike racing if you've got a motor and a battery? Racing or traditional mountain bike racing is all about human performance, and if you're getting some kind of assistance, then surely what is the point? If you've got a more powerful motor, that is the one that's going to win, right? Usually. But on the other hand, I think that e-bike racing is quite exciting. I see lots of tech and development happening in the e-bike racing world. You've got to look at the EWSE and some of the events that have been happening and the kind of advancements that are happening to technology in those sections. Just looking at the recent thing like the Bosch race motor, I think looking back over hundreds of years, there's always been some kind of competitiveness in sports or some kind of organisations, whether it's team sports or individual sports. So actually, although I never take part in any kind of racing usually, I'm quite excited as a spectator to e-bike racing and seeing the tech and the enhancements and the developments that happen there. Now, that being said, I have been invited to take part in the Bosch EMTB challenge. Now, Bosch don't call it a race, it's a challenge. They say it's about orienteering, battery management, and just having a good day out on the bike. I'm going to head and do these two events and I'll share it with you, and at the end we'll come back and I'll share my experiences. So I'm about to do the Bosch EMTB challenge in Peebles at Tweed Love Festival, which I can just see all the way down there. Done a little climb. But what I really like about it is it's not just about going down as fast as you can, it's about orienteering and climbing as well, so making the most of the e-bikes. The Bosch EMTB challenge is an event that brings together riders of all skill levels, from seasoned pros to first-time adventurers. And it's open to all e-bikes too, not just those with Bosch motors. Riders can choose from a regular course, or if you're feeling up for it, there's an advanced version too, which is longer and has a couple more technical trails. And the stages range from fairly short and easy to long and more challenging. So there's actually something for everybody here. So here's the bike I'm riding today, 2023 Trek Rail. Rail is a great all-rounder, 160 travel at the front, 150 on the rear with a 750 battery and the Bosch Smart System. So I've got the timing chip all ready to do the first stage. I think there's like 10 or 11 stages, so let's go check it out. Good. As I set off on the challenge, I was filled with a little bit of excitement and determination. I wanted to do quite well. It's no ordinary race though, because it's a combination of bike skill paired with a route that includes navigation and orienteering. But as I began the first section, things quickly went wrong. I'd had a look at the map carefully and I thought I knew a bit of the route, but somehow I took a wrong turn and found myself lost, and I'd missed the very first checkpoint. And having already used a little bit of battery climbing, I found I needed to blast back down and get checked in. I really didn't want to fall at the first hurdle, and I was quite annoyed with myself because I'd wasted some of the battery already. As I reached the first course, it turned out that it was actually the advanced stage run. I was quite buzzing with energy by this point. Now, this was a short but technical section, and I couldn't wait to get started. All of the stages are done blind, and this one was filled with some nasty off-camber routes to really halt the flow, but I managed to navigate the techie stage and make it to the bottom in one piece. Without a crash, so far. It was also cool to catch up with some other riders and check out some of the lines that they were taking and some of the bikes that they were riding. I managed to take a little break for lunch, around half an hour to refuel, grab some snacks and some fluids on board, but I was still feeling pretty tired by this point. Although it's not really a race, some sections are timed, and I wanted to do as good as I can. The climbs can be pretty tiring though, especially when you're pedalling over the motor assistance. So as I began the next stage, I felt my energy flagging a bit, but I pushed on. I wanted to finish strong, and I wanted to catch one of the riders in front of me. But as I navigated a rooty corner of the trail, I lost the front end of my bike and crashed. Thankfully it wasn't too bad at all, but it definitely cost me some time. As I picked myself up and jumped back on my bike, I knew that I had to finish the final stage of the challenge. So I climbed back onto my bike and pushed on, determined to cross the finish line. Now the question on your mind might be, how did I do? Well, you'll have to wait until later in the video to find out. But in the meantime, I'm heading to the beautiful Swiss Alps for the next stop on the Bosch EMTB challenge. Welcome to Verbier, a picturesque town nestled in the heart of the beautiful Swiss Alps. I'm here for the annual e-bike festival, and this year's event will feature another round of the Bosch EMTB challenge. I've just got the map, so you can see the start point. It's a big loop, and there's 7 stages on this, including a couple of uphill stages and an advanced stage. So first step is us to find out which direction to go in. And it looks like the first bit is a bit of an uphill, so we'll head up there. And the technical timed uphill stages, you get penalised for dabs on the floor, so have to watch out there. Depending on how technical they are, they could be quite challenging, but we'll head up to stage 1 and go and check it out.
I've heard that the stages in Verbier are quite different from those in Scotland, with more flowing trails and open terrain. But don't be fooled, the uphill stages are said to be quite technical and challenging.
So we've just found one of the uphill special stages. It's about a 500 metre stage, so not massive, but the guy is saying it's fairly steep, a little bit of tech in it as well. So the sign says there's some technical uphill, tight switchbacks, really technical section, a bridge and some open flow uphill, so let's give it a go.
Now, I think I'm normally pretty good at climbing, and I was feeling quite confident going into this one, but man, I was in for a surprise. This section was much harder than I was expecting. It was tight and steep, and I ended up taking some really bad lines. I even had to put my feet down and lost a load of time because of it. And it wasn't just me who struggled on this uphill section, I noticed a few other riders having a tough time too. But the pros definitely showed us how it's done, with some much better line choices and techniques. It just goes to show that experience and skill can make a big difference in a situation like this. Motor and battery power take a backseat and skill and experience really help out. One of the key areas is to managing the battery life of the bike. You can't just blast in turbo everywhere. The goal is to use the battery in the most efficient way possible in order to maximise the bike's performance and avoid running out of power before the end of the challenge. It's a single battery event and it takes in around 1500 metres of elevation, so it's definitely going to be an event where getting lost like I did will really test your battery limit. I also realised that I'm incredibly bad at map reading. There's no phones or GPS that you can use, it is just an old school paper map. So map reading skills and navigation abilities are essential if you're not local to the area. But once I found the stages, both the climbs up and the technical downs, yeah, they were pretty epic.
That's it, the event's complete. I'm not normally a massive fan of any kind of race events, but this is different. It feels totally different because it's more uphill, downhill, and there's a real diverse mixture of people that do it. So it's not necessarily just hardcore racers who are doing it to beat the clock and, you know, get a podium. It's about, I would say, the camaraderie and about the experience of doing it, and it's been a great crack. It's been great to chat to the guys and girls that have been doing it, and you kind of build up little bonds with them and, you know, do one section, see them at the bottom, and then do the climbing sections. So I do think that this is a great event for an e-bike because it's not just downhill, it's uphill, and they actually use the e-bikes to their advantage, which is technical uphill climbing. So I loved it. I'm going to go and get my timing sheet. I'm not holding out any hope that I've had a spectacular result, but yeah, I think there's a little bit of competitiveness in me, so let's see how I got on.
So what an amazing experience taking part in those two challenges. Some beautiful locations and actually really different to one another. Now they actually did 6 this year in various locations over Europe. Check it out, you can Google it, it's on their site. I'll pop a link in the description. So how did I do? Well, in Switzerland I got a DNF, which was gutting. I couldn't complete the entire course. But in Scotland I did the entire course and the results say I came 20th out of 98 in the advanced category, which actually I'm really happy with. To get into the top 20 of the advanced, albeit it is 20th, like there's still loads of fast people, but it gave me a bit of thought thinking, oh, I think I'm going to go and try and do it next year, and I'd love to get like in the top 10, 15, that'd be epic. So although it's not a race as such, it's a challenge, there's definitely a bit of competitiveness in there for those folks that kind of seek that competition, which is really cool. And actually the real competitive side of e-bike racing, like the Enduro World Series e-bike version, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how the tech develops over the next few years. And all these electronic systems are actually giving riders some kind of competitive advantage, I believe. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. What do you think of e-bike racing? Let me know down below in the comments. I'm super interested in other people's thoughts and feedback. So thanks for watching this. I hope you did like it. Leave me a thumbs up to let me know if you did, and subscribe for more e-bike content, and I'll catch you soon.